Yay. Welcome, everybody. We are super excited to have you here today. We are here with an amazing group of teachers, and we are going to talk about how to. I'm going to hone in my Olivia Newton-John. Let's get digital, digital. Okay, that was all I got, though. And we are happy to have you here at our Kickstart Your Learning. You're going to get 1 EQ credit for this event, and we will explain in a little bit, and there was no need to register. So let's get this party started. So my name is Misty Shea. I am a EdTech facilitator. I am joined with a bunch of amazing people. Sarah Smith, she's also a facilitator in EdTech.
Hey, everybody.
Jeremy Harris, who's our Assistant Director of EdTech. Lindy Kimming is a teacher at Florence Elementary.
Hello.
Megan Kleincourt, who is a teacher at Vista Ridge Middle.
Hi, everybody.
Lori Murfin, who is a teacher at Central High School.
Hello.
And then the rest of our amazing EdTech team, Laura Gonzalez, Christy Harold, and Aaron Reister. So before we get started, you're going to need to know how to do the chat within YouTube. So I have a lovely helper, my very own Vanna White. No, I'm just kidding. Christy Harold to help us explain it.
All right, so looking at your YouTube screen, you should see a chat window on the right, like you see in this picture. If you don't have a chat window, we just need to perform 3 quick and easy steps so that you can get one. So your chat window might say that you need to create a channel to join, and that's what we're going to do with you right now. So the first step I need you to do is click on your avatar in the top right-hand corner and then click Create a Chat. After that, you're going to come to a screen where you want to choose Use Your Name and Select. Select the blue button. Well, you might have to scroll down a little to see that button. And last, you'll scroll to the very bottom and click Save and Continue. So those quick steps should enable your chat window. I will repeat them one more time if you're trying to do them. So if you click your avatar in the top right-hand corner and then create a channel. On the next screen, use your name and the blue select button. And finally, save and continue. If your YouTube screen hangs a little bit, you might have to click refresh or return to www.kellerisd.net/KIC start.
Thank you so much, Christy. And you have such a soothing voice, like you were made for that screen. All right, if you are participating in the Kickstart Your Learning for EQ credit, we're going to need you to watch the entire live event. Please use this time to introduce yourself in the chat while we're talking, and we would love to know where you're from and what school you're from and where you're joining us from. That was a lot of froms. Thank you. Sorry. Please at least have one comment or at least ask one question during the live event. And then at the end, you'll be provided a link to the EQ form. And then you can also check out our Kickstart Your Learning events on our YouTube channel. We have a lot there that you can earn credit for. So let's get digital. Digital, I don't know, I have to say it twice. So we really wanted to focus on engaging our students, and I'm not going to read this to you, but we just want to make sure that our kids, you have their full attention and that they are actively learning and participating in your class. And our team reached out to some amazing educators here in Keller ISD that we just felt really had such a grasp and a good handle on engaging their students in our current situation, whether they're co-seated, they're all online, or in person. And so they just have some really amazing things, and I can't wait to hear from them. So these are a couple of my digital favorites, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. They're really pretty. You probably use a lot of these. And if there's anything that you're super really curious about or you want a new cool tool to use, please reach out to me, misty.shea@kellerisd.net. I would love to talk with you and Zoom with you about some really cool things that you would like to try. These are just some really fun tools that I've used for student engagement in the past. So let's get on with the show. We're going to start out with Lindy Kimming from Florence Elementary.
Hi, I'm Lindy Hemming. I teach grades first, second, third, and fourth for the hybrid math program. They are all remote and it's the campuses within the feeder pattern. So working with multiple different grade levels and only having them for the one subject and the many different campuses, attendance was really kind of hard, especially with schedules. They could bounce in and out. So I found that running the Zoom usage report for attendance was much easier than trying to take it during Zoom or having them open up an app and complete something. So this is a sample of what that report could look like. You would see the student's name, and then you could see the start time and their end time, their total number of minutes in the Zoom meeting, as well as the total minutes for that Zoom specific meeting. And so in order to access that report, you would have to sign into your account at zoom.us using your Google account, your Keller email. You would click on reports on the left-hand side, and then on usage, you could go through and choose which meeting you were looking for. So for instance, mine are categorized by first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. The live link is the blue number that's under participants. So you click that and then you would click export and it will open in Excel or in numbers, and you can sort and color code and do whatever you need to do in order to get that information. So that was something that was really helpful for me. There's some other things that I've found that are really helpful for translating in person to remote. So there were a lot of things. So Misty, can you hop me over to the next one? There we go. Thank you. So translating in person to remote for grades 1 through 4 was really challenging because it's really hard to engage them in person, let alone being remote. So here are a list of things that I've found to be really helpful. So 4 corners, mirrors up, turning their cameras to the work and not their face, number talks and Padlets, video newsletters, posting a question to Google Classroom, and my prize wheel, which I will go through each of these more in detail. So for 4 corners, obviously in Zoom, we can't have the kids move to the different corners or in the different corners of their Zoom camera, and their little bodies need to move a little bit. So I did, if you think that Sarah is correct, you're going to do jumping jacks. And if you think that Misty is correct, you will do noodle arms, and then I can look and see how they would respond. And then I can call on them to justify their thinking, or I might do a multiple choice question for like an exit ticket. If you think it's A, do this. If you think it's B, do this. Another thing that I noticed is that in person, they have a lot of context clues for staying on task, or how to use different manipulatives, or how to write their notes, and their processing from the screen to their hands was a little bit challenging. So we started pointing our camera in Zoom, not just on our face, but on our work. It was helpful because I was able to see them working, so I could see that they were on task and what they were producing. But it also helped them to see how other kids were using their base 10 blocks, or how others were creating their 3D shape out of a net. So that was really beneficial. In order to get their understanding and their comprehension of what I'm asking them to do, I use Mirrors Up, and I really didn't translate this at all from my in-person to remote. So I just, Mirrors Up is, they copy my gestures and they repeat my words. So I would say, Mirrors Up, I am going into the Google Classroom, I'm going to complete my seesaw assignment, and they have to repeat it. Each step they repeat, so then I can see that they understand. It also is an opportunity for all of my students to turn on their cameras, so I can actually see that everyone knows exactly what I'm asking them to do. Another aspect was number talks. My class time with them is significantly less minutes than what it is in person, so I had to create ways to make asynchronous opportunities instead of making everything live. So I moved my number talks over to Padlets. So they post their answers, and then they have to respond to someone that was similar to them and someone that was different from them, and explain what that was. You could also do this in Seesaw for the younger kids. That's another way. And I get a lot of my questions from Open Middle Math. It just allows a little bit easier work and a little bit more interesting conversations.
I really love how the students are able to kind of show their learning and talk about it and really talk about math this way. And this can really go to any subject area. So Lindy, this is really awesome.
It's helpful too in Padlets because they can upload any kind of app or file. So they could do a video, they could do their Jamboard link, they could just do a picture, whatever it is that they have, they can post. I found that with my little bits in person, I'm the one giving them the instructions all the time, and they're the ones that are completing and knowing what's going on in the day-to-day and what the lessons are going to be and their expectations. And then parents would get an umbrella email for in-person. But for remote, all of a sudden that changed. And the parents were in elementary school given so much responsibility for knowing what their kids should be doing that by the time the kids came to me, they had no idea what we were doing. So I moved over to creating videos for everything. So videos for my newsletter and for updates or instructions. And it makes it easy. I just post a link into a PDF and email it out to the parents. And then I post the video into the Google Classroom so the kids can watch it, hear my voice, hear my energy, get my tone. It just makes for a lot smoother day or week. So for my classroom, I do a flipped classroom. So my mini lesson is a pre-recorded video. It can be myself or Brain Pop or Khan Academy something. And I was noticing that a lot of my students weren't necessarily watching these videos or understanding what these videos were saying. So I started to use the ask a question in Google Classroom. So you post a link to the video and then you can list some questions and they have to type their response. And then after they have posted their response, you'll see over on the right, there's a reply button that once they post answer, they can then reply to their students. So it's much like Canvas with their discussion boards, but my first grade through fourth grade is able to do this. And it's just another engagement piece.
And Lindy, what I love so much about everything you've talked about so far is I can see it going K-12. There was not one thing that you did that wouldn't benefit every single grade level. And I think it's super powerful for you to show that your littles, all the way up to fourth grade, that they can do this and that they are successful. It's so amazing how they can do such amazing things, and sometimes we don't think about it.
Yes.
We have some questions. Someone's asking how long it takes Lindy to make her video newsletters.
So that's a great question. I will say that it's a lot less time than answering 75,000 emails. So there's that. But the video, I use Screencastify and I don't worry about any of this. I just speak to them in the video. So it takes me as long as my video is. So whatever it is that I'm needing to say, that's how long it takes. I don't do any crazy editing. Sometimes I make it fun if I feel like it, and I use a different template and format. But it's really great if you use Screencastify because you can actually show them your screen and where you want them to go in the classroom. I found that it was a lot better to do one grade specific, and then or if I had one that could be for all 4 grades. So kind of deciding between the two. But if I have a 4-minute video, then it takes me 4 minutes to record it.
Thank you so much.
So because I have my younger kids, we needed to make things a little bit more interesting. It was getting very blah, even on my end, just getting a little annoyed with everything. And so the part that I was really missing was the SEL and the morning meeting and just connecting with the kids and celebrating with the kids. Because I didn't even get to do the holiday parties with them or anything. So I created a topic called celebrations in my Google Classroom, and I celebrate behaviors or performance, and it's all very individualized. So if Lori turned her video on today, then I'm going to reward her. I write it on a Post-it and I let her know at the end of the week that she gets to spin the wheel. So I create an assignment and I only assign it to the kids that get to spin. And then they would do a screen recording of their spin and they post it. And that's how I find out what prize they got. So I don't have to take up my teaching time either. If you want to see an example of how I kind of let them know and where they go to access my prize wheel, as well as what prizes I have, you can use that QR code right there for an example.
And Lindy, we had a question. We had Lindsay uses S'more, but there's a limit on how many you can do. So what platform are you using to make your newsletter?
So I just use a PDF. I create everything in Canva. I heart Canva. Yes,
Canva.
I heart Canva. But I just made like the image that was on my slide. It was just a PDF file that I created, and then I hyperlinked the YouTube videos to that. So I post all of my videos unlisted to my YouTube channel, and then I link those videos to the text in my PDF, and then I send that PDF out. And then you can attach the PDF to your classroom, or you can attach the link to the video. Either way, the links stay live.
And in case you didn't know, Canva is free and has a lot of amazing things if you're an educator. So if you sign up for an educator account, which might take a week or two for them to get back to you and approve, they're just, it's amazing. So I could seriously do an entire Kickstart on just Canva, but I won't. Thank you so much, Lindy. That was amazing. You are amazing. So on with the show. So we have Megan Kleincourt, who is at Vista Ridge Middle. So let's see how what the middle schools are doing.
Hi, and I will second the Canva. So I have been doing co-seat since second 9 weeks. And I think one of my biggest advice tips for that is to switch it up, plan for your virtual students. So what programs and apps will work best for them, and then start there and adapt as needed for your in-person learners. And part of that is pick a few of your favorites. You don't have to be a pro at every different type of app and website. Pick maybe 2, Nearpod and Edpuzzle for instructional videos, Quizlet, Quizzes, and Kahoot for practice, and rotate through those pretty often to prevent that like, ugh, Nearpod again from your kids. One of the most exciting things I think that I did this year with my Google Classroom was I used emojis to code different things in my classroom. We'll show you how to do the different emoji keyboards on the next slide, but my code I came up with was a pencil is for classwork or notes. The computer is for videos, so they can see, on Tuesday, there's a pencil and a video, so they're going to do some classwork and watch a video. Same for Wednesday, but then Wednesday also has the little blue check mark. That means that's an assignment that they've got to turn in. There might be a star for a question to answer or a camera for a new Zoom link, but really the options are endless. So one of the options you have, the one I use is the Chrome extension Joy Pixels, and it just sits, up in my bookmarks bar. On a Windows device, you can click Windows period, and on a Mac device, you can hear my 18-month-old singing in the background. You can click Control Command Space, and the emoji keyboard looks like that. So in the chat, go ahead and answer the question, what's something you would want to code with an emoji?
And I am all about emojis. My poor team gets to enjoy all of my lovely emojis in our Zoom chat, but my favorite go-to is the unicorn. Everything's magical to me. If not, I'm going to make it magical. So I need Zoom to put a unicorn in the things.
That'd be awesome. And then Go Guardian is something that is only available for 512. And I just wanted to go over like 3 major things with that. There are announcements and chats. With announcements, you have the option to send an announcement to the whole class. It pops up in the middle of their screen and they have to accept it. Or you can do that for a single student, hey, keep your focus on what we're doing. You can also send a chat, and it is a small little icon in the corner for just that one student. There are also options for students. You can open and close tabs for them. So if a student is off task and you need to close the tab, or a student shows up late and you're trying to help them get to the Nearpod, you can open that tab for them. Locking their screen is also a fun tool when you've maybe asked a student a few times to get back on task, or you're wanting all of your in-person students to focus on the board. You can lock their screen and it locks their browsers. And then scenes are something that you can set up either to turn on automatically for your class, or you can start and stop them during class. And what it does is you add a name and a description, and you can set it up to either block specific sites, YouTube, Cool Math, all of those ones that they like to play with, or you can set it up to block everything except for specific sites that you want them on. You can also set it up where it automatically will open a tab for the students at the start of class.
I love that so much, Megan. And when she says it's 512 only, that's for Keller ISD. So if you're joining us outside of Keller ISD, Go Guardian can be used for other grade levels, but we are using it for 512. Thank you so much, Megan. Now we have Lori Murfin, who is from Central High School, to give us some high school perspective. But again, I'm going to reiterate this. Everything that our friends have showed us so far, everyone's my friend, I'm sorry. Everyone that the teachers have showed us so far can be used K-12. Like everything that I've seen has just been amazing and can really be utilized no matter the age.
Hi, so I teach high school math at Central High School, and I've been co-seating at least one of my classes since the beginning of the year. And a lot of the things I'm going to share are just little things that I have done to make my life a little bit easier, just to simplify things. The first thing is in Aries, if you go to your attendance window, if this is something that you would like to do, you can sort your students to in-person versus remote learners. If you just click on schedule group, it will pop up a little arrow, and then all of your in-person learners will be grouped alphabetically at the top, and then your remote learners will be grouped alphabetically at the bottom. If you want to go back to sorting your students by alphabetically, then you just click the name up at the top, and that will give you another arrow as well, and sort the kids by name. Or if you have students that are in different grade levels and you need to keep track that way, you can sort them by that. But just having them sorted by in-person versus remote, it helps me be able to take attendance for my in-person kids versus my kids very, very quickly. And if you sort it in one place in Aries, it automatically sorts it for you in your other class periods throughout the day. It doesn't sort in Gradebook, but it does sort it this way in the attendance window.
And I had the moment of, I was this many years old and this days old when Lori introduced me to this, and I was just like, I've been using Aries we've been in Aries since last spring, and I was just like, oh, mind blown. So my Keller peeps or anyone else using Aries, oh my goodness, this was like, it made my day. So exciting.
Anything to make my life a tiny bit easier, I'm happy to share. The next thing I really found was helpful for my kids is to do as much direct engagement with my Zoom kids as I do with my in-person kids. So in the same sense that I talk to my kids in person and I make eye contact with them and we have that dialogue back and forth, I always turn and look at my camera and I do the same thing. I know that my kids aren't always going to see that, but every now and then they do catch that. And so as much as you possibly can, just turn and look at both groups of kids as if they're all still in the room with you. So if your setup works with you, if your setup works in your classroom, you can have your camera pointed, even if it's not directly at you, it's pointed kind of in the direct vicinity of where you are. So it's really easy for you to turn and look at your camera, then turn and look at the kids in person and just constantly go back and forth. I constantly make little comments about the kids at home, like if a cat walks by, or, you know, sometimes they have little siblings, like, oh, hey brother, hey sister, just to let them know that I'm still paying attention to them, even though they're not in person with me, they are still just as important. And I want them to know that I want them to feel like they're still in my classroom. Another thing that's really good is to utilize the reactions. Some kids just for whatever reason will not turn on their camera, and I tell them that that's okay. If they do not want me to see them like via camera, that's okay, but I need to have some form of visual cue. In person, when a kid's understand something, they kind of nod along, or you can see that glazed look in their eyes if they're really confused. And you lose that when they don't have their camera on via Zoom. So I have my kids use the reaction bars in the Zoom, which actually just got updated. If you haven't updated your Zoom as of Monday or Sunday, they just updated it again to where your reactions, there's more reactions on there than they had before. And so I sometimes, if I need to know like how many people understand something, I have them all click yes or no. And if you use the yes and no options, it actually gives you a number versus no. So you can kind of get a gauge for, is it a large majority? Is it a small number of kids that understand, that kind of thing? And then ditto with the emoji keyboard that was mentioned earlier. Even in the chat, I have my kids send me emojis as well if they need to, you know, somehow express their excitement or concern or something. They use the emoji keyboard if they have the correct device.
I'm telling you, those unicorns.
Unicorn, smiley faces, all the things. I also have my kids time their responses in the chat. So if I pose a question to the class that I really want them to stop and think about, I'll tell my kids in person, okay, I need you to write the answer to this question down, but don't raise your hand yet. And I tell my remote students to go ahead and type their response in the chat, but don't hit enter. Kind of gives them all a chance to process. And then I give them a command like, okay, now everybody hit enter. And so then you get this whole list of responses in your chat that you can kind of just gauge real quick to see, is everybody understanding? Are there some confusion? Are there some points of confusion? Some kids will send it to everybody so that way everybody can see that they're all understanding. Other kids, as shy as they are in person, they are still shy at home. And so they'll put a direct message chat, but you still get the message. And so you can see how many kids are understanding and how many kids are not. I am a big fan of doing group work in my classroom. And so when I went to COSEAT, this was a really big struggle for me of figuring out how do I still utilize that really important group time with my students, but engaging my in-person with my remote learners. And so what I do at the beginning of class, obviously all of your remote learners have already joined in on the Zoom. And, we do whatever we need to do for the class to get rolling. And then if we're going to do a group activity, I give my kids a few minutes I give my in-person students a couple of minutes to join the Zoom as well. And while they're joining the Zoom, you can go ahead and you can auto create your breakout rooms to have all of your remote learners. And then one by one, as my in-person students join, I add those into those groups as well. So that way I have one in-person student per group of remote learners. And so when I give cues to my kids, because now they're all in breakout rooms and I can't talk to the whole group at once without hopping into the breakout rooms, I can go to my in-person kids and give them little messages and force share their information with their peers. So that way it also helps them communicate as well. And if you're doing breakout rooms with high school students, especially, they don't like to talk. They don't like to turn on their cameras. But if you just hover over one kid's shoulder for a little bit, like, hey, turn on your camera, let me say hi to everybody, and just kind of hop around that way, like either hop around from breakout room to breakout room in person, you can do it that way, or you can like from your camera or from your computer, hop in through the breakout rooms. And the latest Zoom update actually allows kids to pick their breakout rooms. I have not tried that yet because I like to have some control over that, but it is an option if you want to do that.
And I like the kids having the choice to turn on their cameras in a small group setting. So maybe if they don't want the whole group to see their hair, they didn't do it, maybe, whatever. I like that they can do it in a safer, smaller group in a breakout room. That's a really great thing to think about.
Yeah, a lot of times it's also helpful to like assign tasks for the different kids in the breakout room. One person has to share their screen, one person has to write things, one has to communicate. Like, especially if I give them a problem to figure out, I tell them like, okay, one person in your group needs to send me your feedback of how you solve the problem to make sure that we all solved it correctly.
I love that.
And then these are just some apps that I like to use for annotating on notes, and my kids annotate on them as well. So what are the free things that you like to do? Canva as well. I would agree with everybody that has given them props so far. So GoodNotes, Genius Scan, Cam Scanner, Screencast-O-Matic I use as well to make my videos. It will upload to your YouTube account, and you can do the paid or the free version. Either one is fine.
I am a huge fan of Loom. That is my I used to use Screencast-O-Matic like crazy, and then I found out about Loom, but I love it too. But I am really interested in this GoodNotes. Like I don't know, that $8 doesn't seem very, very hefty when it's gonna really change my world and the kids be able to write on PDFs and things. So I love that.
Sacrifice your 2 mochas from Starbucks. Just buy GoodNotes. It's worth it. Totally worth it.
And she is not getting paid by GoodNotes.
No, not at all. I wish I were.
Right? Every time someone, no, I'm just kidding. All right, so we are so very thankful for all for Lindy and Lori and Megan who came today to let us know some of their favorite digital resources and things that they do with their students to really hype up the engagement. If you need more assistance, our Keller ISD friends, we have the KIC website, which is www.kellerisd.net/KIC. And again, you will have to sign in with your Keller credentials in order to access this. But we have help on everything A to Z. Seriously, from area batteries to Zoom. Oh my gosh, you're welcome. Anyway, so we have all of that for you up there, and you can also access our Kickstart videos and all of the resources that we put together for you. So our next Kickstart Your Learning is going to be on February 17th at the same time, 4:30 to 5:15. We would love to see you there, especially if you are all about the Apple. If you love your Apple and Mac, we have some mind-blowing Mac tips with a couple of our favorite Mac people in the district. The same website, KIC.net/Kickstart. And again, you can get 1 EQ credit for it, and there is no need to register. Tell your friends. I love my Macs. So I'm interested in some cool things that I can learn. And for all of my friends that are here to get that 1 hour credit, please get it. You deserve it, even if you don't need it. Like, let's see who can have the most EQ credit. Please go to bit.ly/KICS start 2021. Please remember that Bitly is case sensitive, so your KICS need to be capitalized in order to get to that link. Thank you for joining us today. You can also, if you are in Keller, we have an EdTech button inside of KCloud, and then we also have our blog spot. A lot of our digital tools are on there as well. And always, you can go to www.KellerIC.net/kickstart to watch a lot of our videos and to also see our YouTube channel. So we are very happy that you joined us today, and we are so happy that Lori, Megan, and Lindy came on to give us their expertise in our pre-K to 12 environment. So thank you, ladies, so much for coming on today. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We'd love to help you if there was something that Lori or Megan or Lindy sparked, or if you would like to know more, we would love to help you and give you a little bit more information. Hey, Lori, since we have time, tell me a little bit more about the Good Notes. Like, what's your favorite thing to do in that app? Of course, now that I said that, she might be a little frozen. That's okay. Maybe she's singing Let It Go. No, I'm kidding. That was really lame. My kids listen to Let It Go and Frozen at all times. Lindy, you were telling us a lot of good stuff in the chat. Do you want to talk about a little bit of that while they're filling out their EQ credit if they are?
Sure. So I had somebody ask about how I created my spinner. So I used flippity.net to do a couple different things, but I used that to make my spinner. And I used my QR code, or I think the link is in the chat. You can go in and kind of check it out. And we also put the link for Flippity. I use Screencastify to create my videos. Either just my face or my screen and my face, or just my screen. But I really like Screencastify because it will download directly to my Google Drive or directly into my YouTube account. So it's just real easy. It's not a lot of clicking or uploading and waiting. It all just kind of happens seamlessly. And then, a reminder that canva.com, so canva.com is the account that we used for the PDFs.
And then we had a user that was asking to see the emoji keyboard option. So I'm going to kind of go back to that slide to there we go. Yes, emojis make my life happy. I'm not even a millennial, but I think I feel like one, because I would rather talk in emojis than use real words, because they're just so much fun. And I'll even write an email and anywhere I can put an emoji. So I'm sure someone someday is going to be like, Misty, calm down.
And I'm back. Sorry about the delay on my.
Oh, you're fine. Okay? Hello, technology.
Yes, Good Notes it's a great tool. I like to send my kids a PDF of their notes ahead of time, and so if my kids are annotating on notes, I like to give them a filled-in version of the notes as well. So Good Notes is really good for pulling in a PDF, annotating on it, and then it saves it as a new PDF, and it's a small file that it saves. It's not like a huge file. So when kids can download it, it downloads very quickly. And it's a great resource to like save things to OneDrive or Google Drive, and then pull them into GoodNotes, save them back and forth, whatever you need. So that's what I use it for.
I love it. And honestly, being in ed tech, I get so many questions about how to utilize those PDFs that are tried and true and that you like, especially, you know, when you're in a subject area that you do need annotating, or you want the kids to go in there and mark up something and show their knowledge and show their thinking. So that's really awesome. And I know there are some free things out there, but I'm with you, Lori. Like, if there's something that is just amazing, I don't mind paying $8 for it. Now, 50 or more, I don't know about that, but no, I'm just kidding. $7.99 doesn't seem so pricey when it's yours forever. It's not like it's like a year subscription. So I love that. Thanks, Lori. Any other questions in the chat? We really want to make sure that you feel that supported, and if there was anything else that you needed to know, we are here for you, and you can always reach out to us in Keller, and we are happy to help. Sharing is caring here in Keller ISD. I could sing you a song, but I won't. I think I've sang enough songs today for y'all, at least. All right, we are so happy to have you here, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to the bit.ly in case you still needed to get your EQ credit if you were here with us in Keller ISD. But always feel free to reach out and check out our blog and check out all of the really cool resources. You can follow us at EdTech KISD for Facebook, at EdTech KISD for Twitter, and we have an Insta. Is our Insta the same at? I think it is. And then edtech@kellerisd.net. So I'm working on our team. I really want to have a Snapchat, and I really want to have a TikTok, but I can only imagine what our TikTok would be. Can you imagine me doing dance videos about tech? No, I'm just kidding. I would totally not do that. Misty's musical ed tech. No, I'm kidding. But it would really follow us. We put out some really good stuff. My mother-in-law follows one of them, and she was super happy one time that they posted how to split your screen on a Windows device. Like, she's like, oh my gosh, I need you to post that again. I was like, well, I didn't post it, but thank you. But she follows our ed tech, and we put out some stuff that are just cool tips and tricks, and you're just like, wow, mind blown. Seriously, just like sorting Aries. You never know what amazingness that you don't know. So definitely follow us, and we'd love to hear from you. All right, if that is all, we will see you next time in February for our next Kickstart. We cannot wait for the next Mac tips if you want to join us. So we will see you later, everyone.